Thanks for joining us today. My name's Beth. I work in marketing for CTEC Plus, and I'm really pleased to be joined by Natalie Bell from AccXel, who's joining us today to talk about International Women's Day and what breaking the bias means to them. So thank you so much for joining us, Natalie.
Thank you for the invitation.
No worries. So I wanted to first of all just talk to you about AccXel and what you do, and just find out a little bit about who you are, and how you're working with CTEC Plus to kind of inspire the next generation.
Yeah, okay. So AccXel, we are the UK's first industry-led co-funded construction school, and we're based in the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire. We're a bit different in terms of an education facility because we're actually owned and run by two females. So AccXel was actually set up, and the managing director is my sister Nicola, and I'm the growth and partnership director. A bit about AccXel. So where did it come from? We are a third generation construction company, KW Bell Group, and based sort of in the Midlands and the Southwest and South Wales. And my sister has been in the family construction firm for about 10 years. I came from construction. I came from a tier one construction company, Kia. So have worked in construction about 8 years myself. And she was actually succession planning for the business about 5 years ago, and realised we're not getting the people through the door that we need. 25% of our workforce would be retired in the next 5 to 10 years, and we didn't have enough people to service our order book. So not only that, what we were finding is that people coming out of the local colleges and things, they weren't trained properly, they weren't site ready, they weren't the standard that we needed to get, to have them on site. So what Nikki did was she developed her own bespoke groundworks program 4 years ago, and had remote sites, and brought through 23 apprentices, 17 of which actually graduated. And for apprenticeships in construction, that's a pretty good retention rate, to be honest. So she was doing the business case and sorting that out. So post-COVID, then the Getting Building Fund was actually brought out, and this was for infrastructure projects to get the economy running after COVID. And construction never really stopped during COVID, to be honest. It actually got busier. So we were invited to submit a business plan for AccXel to the local enterprise partnership. So we'd done that within 3 weeks. Within 8 weeks, we were awarded 1.96 million from the local LEP, and AccXel was born. So it's a £3 million bill. So we were given 2 million by the LEP, and 1 million from our family construction company. And AccXel is 980 square metres of learning space, everything to do with construction. We started on site last January 2021. The build was finished in December 2021, and we opened the doors 2 months ago in January.
Oh, amazing. And how's it going? How are you finding it?
It's going really, really well. So we have two strings to our bow, really. So we have our apprenticeships, so bringing people into the industry, but also we've developed our own bespoke skill steps program. And for us, that's about upskilling people already in the industry. So we have a mixture at the moment. Our apprentices don't start until the end of March. But we currently have learners in for all of our skill steps, and also cohorts in with the Department of Work and Pensions as well.
Fantastic, amazing. And how is it that you are, the partnership that you have with us at CTEC Plus, how has that helped your business, and how are you helping our participants to venture into construction and inspiring that next generation of females to work in construction as well?
I think for us it's about imparting knowledge, and it's about giving information. So we met with CTEC Plus when it was at least about a year ago. So when AccXel was just being built, and we met with Nick and Sophie, and we were just inspired by what you do, and it aligned with the values of what we're trying to do at AccXel, and bring people back into work, inspire them, give them aspiration. And in construction, that is available. There are so many opportunities, there are so many career paths and career routes, but people don't know about them. And for us, because we're not governed by education or curriculum or anything. We can tailor our training and our education to what the learners want. And I think that's why we're going to work really, really well with CTEC Plus, is because tell us what you want and we'll deliver it, and tell us what your participants need and we can deliver that. And it's about getting people back into work, getting people to have a change of career if they like. And for us, it's not only bringing people into construction, which is what we need, but giving those people a different career route and giving them that aspiration. And for us, that's really, really important. The same with females. I think it's made a lot of difference, even at the beginning, that this construction school is led and owned and led by women, because I think it will make the industry more accessible. And we know what barriers that we've come across being women in the industry, and I think we're coming at it from a different angle as what women need. With CTEC Plus, we're looking to run female-only cohorts, because sometimes they don't want to be in cohorts with males. It's not conducive to their learning, and if that encourages them to come into construction and change career path, then we'll do it. If that gives them the impetus to explore construction as a career, then we'll do it.
Totally, yeah, and it's a fantastic partnership. And you touched on there on my next point of, so our conversation is all about International Women's Day today, and the theme this year was breaking the bias. So often that bias is what can really kind of restrict women in making their own footprint and progressing in their career if they're led by stereotypes and bias, which sometimes can hold them back or kind of stop them moving forward. So what does breaking that bias mean to you? What does that mean for you guys?
I think breaking the bias for us means challenging preconceived ideas about what women should be, what women should do. We've been in construction and in leadership roles for a couple of years now, but we go to a lot of events where it's still middle-aged white males at the top, and even though they talk about inclusion and diversity is high on the agenda, we don't see enough being done. It's talked about a lot, but in terms of actual action, we don't see enough. And it's still a case of the men at the top and women in more of the HR admin roles, and break the bias for us. It's not just about what's shown outwardly. It's actually that subconscious bias as well. Oh, well, women shouldn't be in construction. They shouldn't be in those male-dominated environments. And we've got to do this even from school age, because we still, even though again we are banging the drum of female equality, we don't see that translating into the workplace and not nearly quick enough. We can't still be in this position in 20 years, so we have to challenge that. Break the bias is challenging those preconceived ideas, challenging those perceptions, and this needs to start right at school age, right when the girls are 4, 5, 6, and Nicola and I both have 2 daughters each, and they're aged between 10 and 16, but again they see their mums in leadership roles in construction, but still they've got the idea that we're in a male-dominated environment. But nobody's outwardly said that, but it's just that subconscious bias that's there even from a very early age. And I think in order to change that outlook, we need to change the perception earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And as two women in construction, what examples of stereotyping and kind of biased behaviour have you both experienced?
It's been both. Being in this position has presented challenges, but also has been a blessing. In terms of, because it's very different being 2 women at the helm of a construction school. It's got us that exposure. It's got us that publicity. It's been welcomed by industry, which has been fantastic. Notwithstanding that, we've also had our challenges. We've come up against it is a minority, but it is that you have to prove yourself, over and above anyone else, that you know what you're talking about. And maybe that's personal insecurities of being a woman, but you do come across some areas and some people who still have those ideas in their head. We actually put a post out on LinkedIn about a month or so ago, and it was a TikTok video of my sister, me, and our head of sales. And we were in our dresses and we clipped our fingers and we were in our rigger boots and hard hat. And it went viral on LinkedIn and had over 1.5 million views and over 35,000 likes and 15,000 comments. But it was interesting that there actually was, there was quite a bit of trolling and what are women doing on site? What are women doing in rigger? And so there is that faction still out there, and it's awful to think of in this day and age. But then, on the opposite side, we've had such support for the position we're in. But what I'm really saying is this shouldn't be something that's out of the norm.
No.
And this isn't something that should be, oh wow, this is really different. This should be the norm. We shouldn't still be making a big song and dance about us being in a construction company. But times haven't really changed that much.
No, and that's the thing, is it is still a very, when people say, oh, it's two women working in construction, and I guess, like you said, it's helped you in your careers because it has made you stand out from the crowd. But then it has to come to a point where, okay, when we're not an act, we're not doing this to prove a point. We're doing this because it's our job and we enjoy it, and it should, like you said, it should be the norm going forward, totally. And it's great that you're inspiring your children to have that mindset, and hopefully when they get to a point where they can kind of venture into their careers, they don't experience as much as much kind of restriction and setback as what's previous. So you touched on it earlier about your kind of women only cohort. So tell us more about what you're doing to, kind of break the bias further and really kind of make that mark in terms of making this the norm for women going forward.
So at AccXel, it's not, with our training and our education programs, we've made it so it's not just giving qualifications, it's building the whole person. So we don't just train and so they get their cards to get on site. We give lessons in leadership and personal development and leadership and mental health and well-being and quality and sustainability. And so it's not just giving that boost on the employment ladder. It's actually building them. It's making them believe that they can do it, that they are in the right place, that they can go out on site and do what they want to do. And it's the same with, our training is the same, whether it's for males or females. But I think especially for females, they have to feel comfortable that when they go on site that they will be accepted. When they go on site, they will be treated properly. And that's what we're basically the linchpin between education and industry. So we have over 30 employer partners who have signed up to our Constructing Futures pledge. And they're guaranteed employment. They're guaranteed that the employers will help them in their growth and their personal development. And I think that's a really key thing for getting more females into the industry. They need to know that they're going to be supported and that they're going to, it may take them longer to integrate, but they need support to be able to do that. It is still a case where on site it is predominantly male. So the females coming in, yes, they will absolutely flourish, but they need support to be able to do that. And I think with our female only cohorts, it's just, especially with our introduction to construction, they have to feel safe. They have to be in a safe environment and an environment where it's conducive for them to learn. So if it's 3 weeks of just them in a group of like-minded females, just exploring whether construction is for them, then so be it. We will do whatever is needed to encourage the next generation of females into construction. And I'm sure there'll be learning curves on the way and bumps in the road. But the exciting thing about working with CTEC Plus is that we can, we can tailor it, we can evolve it, we can, what do your participants want? What do the learners want? And let's tailor it to that. Let's just encourage more women in. How we do that, I'm sure it will be a moving feast, but let's start here and then let's do it consistently, and let's do it in a sustained way where we get those women through the door.
Yeah, totally. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today. And I think you've definitely inspired a lot of women who are watching today. So thank you.
Thank you very much.